By bringing together the right investors, exceptional opportunities, trusted operating partners, and disciplined execution, we strive to create lasting value, meaningful impact, and long-term prosperity for our investors and the communities we serve.
All right. It is my pleasure to introduce you guys to Lan Castro, founder and CEO of Multifamily Capital Enterprises and managing partner of RGL Capital Partners, GP in Imperial Terrace, 28 unit multifamily with Beth Sunny's team, and a fund manager focused on stewarding investor capital. Lan is owner and partner in more than 478 multifamily units across different U.S. markets, over $52 million in AUM. She is Vietnamese, Chinese American, or Vietnamese born Chinese American refugee with a small family business background. She grew up with her parents to help rebuild their lives and operate a family donut shop for more than 3 decades, which I love. I'm a big donut guy, so I love that. And their entrepreneurial resilience and heart imprinted on her in her early years and set a big example that shaped her commitment to family and opportunity. Community is really big for Lan as well, and has spent more than 20 years leading complex global oncology clinical research programs. And she now brings that discipline, attention, and risk to multifamily, capital raising, investor relations, and fund management. So everyone help me welcome Lan. Woohoo! Good to have you with us.
Thank you so much, Logan. And thank you to the entire Hero community. It's truly an honor to be here. I'm Lan Castro, founder and CEO of my company, Multifamily Capital Enterprises. And I'm also the managing partner of YL Capital Partners in collaboration with Ricardo Soto, Yulin Wright, and Jose Urrutia. I am also general partner of our recent San Diego acquisition of Imperial Terrace, the 28-unit multifamily apartment community with Beth and the Sunny team. So essentially across multifamily real estate, I serve as a real estate investor, general partner, investor relations lead, and fund manager with a strong focus on capital connection, stewardship, and long-term value creation. So a little bit about my background. I'm Chinese born in Vietnam, raised in the US, and married Mexican. So I feel that I've got covered all my bases. And when I was about 1.5 years old, my family fled Vietnam by boat and eventually resettled here in the US when I was about 3.5 years old. My mother shared with me countless horrible stories of the hardships that we and other families endured as part of our journey to the US as refugees. My stepdad, who is Chinese born in Cambodia, also escaped as a refugee, and my parents met in the US. And together, my parents' journeys of survival, heartbreak, sacrifice, and rebuilding are an important part of my family story. So after rebuilding their lives in America, my parents owned and operated a donut shop for more than 3 decades. I grew up watching them work incredibly hard, serve their community, and create solid opportunities for our family through their entrepreneurship and commitment. And their example shaped my values around perseverance, responsibility, and creating opportunities for future generations. Before real estate, I was pre-med, I was an EMT, phlebotomist, pathology technician, medical tech, and then now 20 years leading complex global oncology clinical research programs. That work taught me how to analyze risks, coordinate many stakeholders, communicate responsibly, and remain focused on the people affected by every decision. Today, I apply those same principles to real estate and the stewardship of investor capital. So my journey has shown me that meaningful opportunities are built through education, relationships, teamwork, and consistent action. And my humble family background is one reason why financial independence, entrepreneurship, and legacy means so much to me. Real estate became a way to build something lasting, not only for my family, but also for the investors and the community that we serve.
Awesome. Really good stuff. Really glad to have you on. And speaking of San Diego, I did forget to mention, we have, which I know you'll be in attendance, our private money event in San Diego on July 31st. If any of you are anyone on the West Coast, then it'll be easier for you to attend on short notice. We'll put a link in the chat so you guys can check it out. It's a smaller event we're doing, more multifamily focused, but it's going to be a really fun event that Tim is leading. So if you guys are on the West Coast, you want to join Lan and hang out with us for a few days, July 31st. So this weekend, it will be taking place. We'll put a link in the chat so you guys can sign up. If you're part of our mentor, it'll be a lot cheaper for you as well. So just putting that out there because I forgot to mention it. I know Lan is from San Diego as well. So really great community you've managed to build on our hero West Coast, I call it, right? But great to have you with us. I wanted you to briefly describe your business model. I know you did the 28 unit I think it was, and the Devonshire deal recently, but what you're trying to do this year and into next year.
At Multifamily Capital Enterprises, we create meaningful capital connections by understanding each investor's individual financial objectives and investment goals. We then connect qualified, sophisticated, and accredited investors with the carefully curated real estate opportunities offered by highly experienced, proven operators. By bringing together the right investors, exceptional opportunities, trusted operating partners, and disciplined execution, we strive to create lasting value, meaningful impact, and long-term prosperity for our investors and the communities we serve. At RJYL Capital Partners, our business model is built around collaboration. Each partner brings complementary strengths across deal sourcing, underwriting, due diligence, capital raising, investor engagement, financial oversight, and asset management. Together, we partner with experienced sponsors, operators, lenders, property managers, and qualified investors to execute each property's business plan. Our first general partner acquisition is Imperial Terrace, the 28-unit multifamily apartment in San Diego, which we acquired in partnership with Beth and the Sunny team. The property provides us with the opportunity to apply community-focused operating strategy while gaining hands-on experience across the full investment life cycle. And what I'm looking forward to is the closing of Devonshire. I'm participating as a fund manager on that as well. And it's been a great experience, really flexing my capital raising muscles for that 506B. We closed last month and now on the 506C side of it.
Fantastic. And what initially, I know that your upbringing, and obviously I have a very good feel on this because I was the one, doing a lot of calls with you before you joined the Alliance and figuring out which way you wanted to go. But what motivated you initially to, because it sounds like you had a pretty successful career pre-real estate, what motivated you to specifically pursue commercial and multifamily?
Definitely. So my critical turning point came almost 3 years ago when I realized that I was burning the candle at both ends, juggling a demanding corporate career, raising a family, and constantly feeling that I was missing precious time with the people who mattered the most. I was grateful for my successful career, but I also recognized that working harder in my W-2 position alone was not necessarily creating the family legacy, financial freedom, or greater control over my time that I wanted. That realization motivated me to begin searching for another path. So initially, I considered purchasing a fourplex or something similar, something small, manageable on my own. But then I started seeing on my Facebook feed some advertisements for multifamily educational program like Multifamily Mindset. So after seeing those ads several times, I finally decided to click on it and attend one of those introductory events. And that became the beginning of my multifamily journey. From that point on, I made a deliberate decision to invest in myself before investing in larger real estate. I enrolled in their Diamond Mentorship program for a year while continuing to balance my full-time career and family responsibilities. That first year gave me a strong foundation, but it also taught me how much more there was to learn. I noticed that many of the experienced multifamily leaders that I admired had originally come from RE Mentor. So then I decided to go straight to the source and join the RE Mentor Advanced Educational community as well. I especially appreciated the depth of experience, strong community, and conservative approach to multifamily investing. And so additionally, for my second year, I also joined the RE Mentor Insiders Club Mastermind, which gave me the opportunity to learn directly from the RE Mentor founder, David Lindahl, and spend time both virtually and in person with him and experienced sponsors, operators, and other leaders in the industry. Through live events in Las Vegas, Cancun, Boston, I gained not only current market insights and a next level mindset, but also meaningful relationships and memorable experiences with the community. And then because I wanted to understand underwriting at a much deeper level, not simply rely on someone else's numbers, I further invested in Don Goff's next level underwriting program. That helped strengthen my ability to evaluate opportunities, challenge assumptions, identify risks, and participate more confidently in investment decisions. And now I'm happy to say that I'm part of Tim Mai's Hero Alliance, almost coming up to a year now, though I had known Tim and followed his work from a distance since late 20. I was able to take the leap once I felt ready to go all in on capital raising for our team's first acquisition, Imperial Terrace. And being part of the GP team to raise for Imperial Terrace and joining Hero Alliance was an incredible catalyst that helped me elevate my capital raising knowledge, confidence, systems, and activity at exactly the right time. So RE Mentor had given me a strong foundation in sourcing, acquisitions, due diligence, operating multifamily properties, and Tim's strengths in capital raising, marketing, real estate funds and the funds of funds model became a powerful complement to that education. And when David decided to step back, retire to spend more time with his young children, I felt very fortunate that it was Tim who was willing to continue that legacy of education while strengthening it further by helping students grow more on the capital raising side. And his leadership has created additional pathways for people to participate in real estate in the capacity that best aligns with their strengths, whether through acquisitions, operations, capital raising, investor relations, funds, or strategic partnerships. And through Tim and Hero Alliance community, I've since had opportunity to participate in raising through capital through fund structures, continue developing my skills and collaborate with highly experienced operators, and have extended access to carefully evaluated investment opportunities. So my motivation began with something deeply personal, reclaiming precious family time and creating a meaningful legacy. But the journey grew into something even greater, a commitment to continuous education, personal growth, strong partnerships, responsible capital stewardship, and helping other investors gain access to opportunities that may support their own financial and family goals. I learned that before I could confidently invest in multifamily real estate or invite others to invest alongside me, I first had to invest in becoming the person capable of recognizing, evaluating, and responsibly executing those opportunities.
And you make a good point. I wanted to ask you, after signing up for different programs like RE Mentor, Multifamily, and with the Alliance, do you think that if you went the other way and you decided to just jump in without having a mentor, without having a coach, do you think you would have been as successful?
No, absolutely not. No.
The
Yeah, but
reason I
I'm
ask
also
is because,
go ahead.
go ahead.
I was just gonna say I'm the person who wants to know everything as much as I can before I jump in. That's just
Mhm.
the person I am. So I
Yeah,
would not
because
have gotten this far.
yeah, one of the things that Tim harps on and a lot of the more successful people on this call talk about is you can't do it on your own, right?
No.
And I want people to know that here you listed off a few programs and things that you joined. It's not about the cost or being in the room with the person who's raised the most capital. Someone who's done 5 deals knows more than you do, right? Having someone like that in your corner can help. It doesn't always have to be, hey, I have to go drop 50 grand on this mastermind. And because I can't afford that, that means I probably shouldn't get into real estate or I probably shouldn't scale, right? If you're doing single family or smaller multifamily, just having someone in the room with you who knows more goes a long way. And it sounds like obviously you did sign up for all these programs and that accelerated it quite a bit. But I want everyone to realize it's not required, right? It's just being in the someone who's done a few deals can go a long way.
Yeah, and it's definitely a team sport. I could not have done this alone. It's really through the partnerships, all the people that I met along the way that really made a difference to nudge me in each direction and just really got me here. And really, again, you don't have to spend all that investment, but if you can connect and partner with someone who has, that will definitely help your situation.
Absolutely. And I wanted to hear some more about your first capital raise, some challenges that you ran into and how you faced them and tried to overcome them.
Definitely. Yeah, my first capital raise was really for the Imperial Terrace. And it was the biggest challenge really was it was my first time really raising and just getting started is definitely a challenge. But that's when I decided to join the Alliance and really utilize all the resources that it provided with that, the CRM and everything. So that helped create that system that I needed and put in place and just made it a lot more smooth on my side. But yeah, it was great and definitely again a very team effort to raise. The purchase price for Imperial Terrace was 6.25 million. Our raise was approximately 3 million, and throughout the team's effort, we were able to get that.
Awesome. And obviously, starting out, you didn't have that track record and credibility. So, what are some ways you tried to overcome that and establish credibility with your investors?
Definitely leveraging the KP and sponsor through their experience being in the industry and knowing very well the market and Beth's amazing background as being an appraiser and yeah, just really leveraging their experience and other operators as well really complemented the experience on the team as well.
And I'm assuming on the Devonshire, the fund of funds deal, you did pretty much the same thing, right? Leveraging
Yes.
that experience that the sponsor has.
Most definitely leveraging their track record, their experience, and they're not new to this. They've handled many similar large apartment complexes with success.
Yeah. And because you've done both the co-GP and fund of funds, this is a big point for a lot of people who, whether you have experience or not, whether you've raised money or not, leveraging someone more experienced than you, which has been a theme for the past few weeks on the show, is the fastest way to get into bigger deals and the fastest way to raise more capital. Because at the end of the day, especially if you're doing a fund of funds, if I'm an investor, who is executing on my dollars? It's not Lan. In a weird sense, it helps you that you're not super experienced because you're leveraging it all onto the sponsor saying, hey, this guy's done this 10 times. They have 500 million in AUM. They have this and this check boxes being checked. That's what the investor really cares about. And so that's why I wanted to kind of harp on that a little bit because you know it better than most. Hey, I didn't have a lot of experience. I was still able to raise and help close on these two deals just by leveraging somebody else's experience, which goes a long way when it comes to establishing credibility with your investors. Now, we can establish a lot of credibility, but we still have to find them. So what are some ways that you're using to find and attract more LPs into your database?
Initially, definitely starting to open up about what I'm doing to my friends and family and colleagues, and just educating them about what we're doing and how they can earn passive income, and really able to offset some of their tax burden for high income earners as well. And really trying to dispel some of the initial objections, right? So a lot of investors were cautious about interest rates, the economy, especially the asset being in California. A lot of people are really scared of California, investing in California. And so definitely, yeah, explaining the San Diego opportunity without minimizing the risk or overpromising. So really it's just a balance with explaining and educating and really reassuring that we've identified the risks and these are our mitigations.
And how have you rolled that over whenever you're marketing to promote a deal, right? With these last two, do you have any strategies you're using specifically when you actually go on the raise to market the deal?
Definitely, it's great that through these experienced operators, they have all the resources already readily available. So really, again, leveraging not only their track record, their experience, but also the resources that they've already created for their own syndication. So I just utilize that, modify that as I needed for my audience, and then use that to really present to my investors. And the great thing is that because they have so much experience and there's so many good features to the deal that it really sells itself. I'm very happy, fortunate, and grateful for that because it's really, I believe in it, and that makes it a lot easier to really try to bring up all the benefits that it could afford to the investors as well.
Yeah, don't have to reinvent the wheel, right? If an experienced sponsor is promoting the deal and you're coming in as a fund manager or co-GP, just use their resources, right? You don't have to make it your own, which I've seen some people do, which is why I usually ask that question. It's because some people want to reinvent it. You don't have to, right? They already have the resources. Add on your fund economics or whatever at the end, and you're good to go. But I'm curious, do you have an ideal client profile, an avatar that you target?
Busy professionals, high net worth individuals from, because my background is in science, technology, biopharmaceuticals, someone in the science, technology space, but essentially busy professionals, right? Who have maybe a tax burden that they need to offset and would like to grow and create a legacy of wealth for their family.
And do you see taxes as their primary motivation for investing right now?
It's not everyone's primary, but definitely it's really high up there for sure.
Yeah. And do they prefer a single asset type? Obviously, you do multifamily. You mentioned it earlier. Do you see any kind of deviation from multifamily? Like some of your investors saying, "Hey, I just don't want to invest in multifamily right now," or I want this asset type instead. Are you seeing any of that?
Personally, I know, yeah, I have not had many objections to multifamily. I think a lot of people do understand that it's a great asset to invest in. But even personally, myself, I plan to look more into like assisted living, self-storage, boutique
Mhm.
hotels. That's just for my own interest. And hopefully, eventually, I will then be able to create funds for those asset classes as well to offer to my investors.
And you mentioned that the California thing, which you're not the first person to bring this up. How do you overcome that? Where a lot of people, and the example I use is mobile home parks for a long time. I used to do mobile home parks and mobile homes. They were trailers, white trash, and now they're a super popular asset type. But years ago, they had this stigma, and I think the West Coast, California, New York, Chicago, the blue states, they don't have good rental laws. That's why I think investors have a preconceived taboo or notion that they don't want to invest in California. So two parts to the question. How do you overcome that in general? And do you run into investors who just flat out say, I won't invest in California?
Definitely. There are investors that say, no, I'm not going there. Thank you very much. But definitely in order to help explain and encourage that it is not always the case. It really depends on the asset and the community that you're investing in. You can see through the history whether or not they've had any evictions, just making sure you have a good property management company there. And also as you do the screening process, making sure that is as careful as you can. I think that really helps as well. And also a lot of our investors in our San Diego deal are actually from California, so they're not that scared because we live here and we
Mhm.
know the market and we're pretty confident that it's fine.
Yeah, I would assume that it's quite a bit easier to raise California money than Texas money for those deals. But I still think there is opportunity in California because so many people hold that opinion that you can find a good deal here and there because so many people are out on that market. So just an interesting perspective I wanted to learn some more about. And so obviously we find these investors, we build this credibility, we raise this money, but then the deal's over. And how do you try to maintain long-term relationships and keep them top of mind even once, distributions are coming in, they're not really hearing from you on a regular basis deal-wise if you're a fund manager. So how do you stay top of mind for them for the next deal?
Definitely. It's really communication. That's a major big thing that's important to us is communication. So we send out monthly newsletters, especially at the early months, because that's a lot of activities are going on. So we like to keep our investors really informed over communication sometimes, which is good. And then as things start to settle down, we get into a good smooth pace, then we also slow that down as well. But at least at minimum quarterly updates to our investors and just reaching out, checking out how they're doing, not just always about the deal, for sure.
Gotcha. And how have you seen your process change from your first raise to the Devonshire deal in terms of trying not to scramble, right? Making sure that funds are readily available, right? Probing your investors and pre-screening them and that kind of thing to let them know, hey, I have a deal coming up that I'm looking at versus, hey, I have a deal, I need to raise money.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's really important to start building that system and database as you start networking and reaching out to friends and family and other colleagues and acquaintances on whether they're even interested in investing with just learning more about investing and then just getting to know them, their own investment goals, long-term, short-term asset classes, and that way you're able to systematize as deals come up. You can know who would likely be most interested in, and you can prioritize that way.
And did you invest as an LP prior to your 28 unit?
Yes, most definitely. I wanted to be an LP so I can learn all the good and bad things, adopt the all the good things and not definitely not do the bad things. So I
Mhm.
invested in 3 deals before I became a GP.
Gotcha. And as an LP, have you ever lost money as an LP?
Not yet because they're new still, but there are definitely some deals that don't offer a distributions as maybe as they had planned. I hopefully it'll catch up at the end. That is
Mhm.
the hope. Yeah,
Yeah, I was
still
just
working.
curious from an LP perspective, does that, when you invest as an LP and a deal doesn't go as planned, does that change the way that you approach deals on the capital raising side?
Definitely, always, it's never a guarantee. There's always risk, and never speak in absolutes because every investment has risks. And so, whether they don't make their prep or they don't do their distributions, or if they don't communicate on time, things like that, late K1s and all that. But
Mhm.
it's all part of it, right? And definitely informing our investors of all the possible things that could go wrong. And if they're still interested and feel like they would like to invest and the deal is strong enough in their criteria, then it would be a good fit then.
Absolutely. I always say being an LP isn't required before you get into a deal, but it makes a big difference because you get to see, oh, here's what it's like to be just a silent partner in a deal where I don't have any say. I'm just getting emails and updates, and it can shape the way you look at deals, I think, a lot versus when you first get in the industry or wide-eyed, you're like, oh, this deal looks amazing. Would you invest 100 grand of your own money if you didn't have the access that the underwriters have and the knowledge that real estate professionals have. If you were just a normal person, is this a deal you'd invest a lot of money into? I think it's a very important step, but not required. It's what I always like to ask. And I wanted to get more into the fund, right? So obviously you started as a co-GP, you talked to us and we led you on the fund of funds path, but I'm curious, what about it? What about funds and fund of funds? Why did you choose that structure to do your next raise after your 28 unit?
Yeah, no, it was a great option because being part of Hero Alliance, Tim made it possible for the students to partake in the fundraising and be a part of a fund. So that was definitely a no-brainer for me to participate because I am definitely learning, continuing to learn capital raising, and that's another ability and skill set I wanted to put under my belt as well. So it was great to even be afforded that opportunity to raise. And a lot of new students, they have a big challenge of how can I raise if I have nothing to raise for? So these two opportunities, one was the Maria Income Debt Fund, as well as the Devonshire Lake Dallas with Miles and sorry, Dustin and Hayden. So it really, those are both great opportunities to be in, and it's really not a challenge to try to raise for.
I forgot that you raised for Maria's debt fund. I'm curious if you could give your take on if you see any big difference or in process or investor relations or anything when it comes to raising for an equity deal versus a debt fund. Did you see any major differences in how you went about things?
Yeah, definitely. I based on my what I know about my investors, I would present those opportunities to them first and then lead with that. And of course, if they're interested, they can learn about the other opportunities as well. But yeah, really it's really about knowing your investors, what they're looking for, what their long-term goal is or short-term goals, and yeah, making sure the opportunity fits their needs, really. And
And
if I
and
may, oh, go on, go ahead.
go ahead. No, go ahead.
Oh, I just wanted to mention that for the Imperial Terrace, like how we got that, it was really a team effort. Ricardo Soto on our team, he found the deal on LoopNet and he underwrote it and he shared it with the team. We underwrote it and it had a chance. And so I think it was Ricardo and Yulin sat down with Beth. And with her extensive background in appraisal, she believed it had a chance as well. So then, yeah, we took it to the next level. And basically, we, as the original general partners on the team who founded, and we were able to, yeah, get the buy-in and approval of Beth and took it. Yeah, and now we were able to close in December that 28 unit. And actually, we signed a PSA for another 45 unit in San Diego as well. So it's really, again, a team effort. Every step, every contact could lead to an amazing outcome and future and journey.
We love Beth, friend of the show. We love. Is she on the new deal with you as well?
Yes.
Awesome. Fantastic. I hope to see her in Houston. She said she might be able to make it, so that'll be fun. I'm curious being on both sides of the fence, since you're a little unique in that way. Most people that we interview have done one or the other, at least recently. What is it about fund of funds that you particularly like? Maybe not over being a co-GP, but kind of comparing the two. What do you like more about fund of funds?
I really like the funds and fun of funds in that it's great for those who may not. It's challenging out there to find a deal that pencils, right? So and until you do, this is a great opportunity to be raising and sharing to your investors all the other great deals that are available at the moment. And raising for that, I feel, is a great opportunity for both the fund managers and the investors because investors are looking for places to place their money to work harder for them. So if you can help your investors now, and once they have a good experience, they will continue to come back to you. And when you have a deal for yourself, then you already have your investor base to reach out and say, hey, we have a new deal opportunity. If they're interested and if it suits them, then that's great. So I feel like it's a great complement. It's not the only, it depends on each person, how they feel they would like to acquire and operate only, or if they want to do fund management only, or do both in between and fill in that gap while you're still looking and getting something under contract.
Yeah, you put it perfectly. I think that a lot of people are opening up because it's still relatively new concept that I think Tim is pushing into the masses pretty hard for the operators out there. GPs, I know a lot of you haven't done a deal in the last year or two for some of you. It's a great way to supplement in the interim deals that are big enough to the point where they don't need a co-GP, or some operators don't want a co-GP, so you can't raise for those deals. But you still like the operator, you still like the deal. It's too big for you, or maybe you liked it, but they got to it first, whatever the case is. I think it's a great way to, in the interim between your deals, you have 60, 90 days with no projects. You like this operator, go do a fund of funds and raise for them, park your investors' money so they don't place it elsewhere. And also you make some money. I think it's a win-win-win all around. The operator doesn't have any other mouths to feed at the table in terms of the GP split. And so I obviously we were biased to fund of funds, but I think that it has a lot of applications even for people who say, I want to do my own deals. But what happens when you don't have a deal for 6 months, 8 months, a year, and your investors' money is going somewhere and it's not to you? So I always like to make that point. Obviously, we're in a weird time for multifamily. I think we're looking up as we get to the end of the year. But what are some of your predictions for the market that we will absolutely hold you to and record? And if you're wrong, we're going to put you on blast. Not just kidding. But what are some of your predictions that you have for the upcoming market and how you're preparing to thrive?
I remain optimistic about the long-term need for housing, but I do expect some wide differences by the market and submarket. And the high supply markets continue absorbing new units. Resident retention and occupancy preservations are priorities. I think it's definitely a great time for us all to get into multifamily. I feel like there are some loans that are coming maturing, the balloon, variable rates, and all that. So to me, it seems like it's a great time to start definitely educating yourself, building yourself, and then as new opportunities come online to jump in, definitely after vetting it and everything, having a good team in place for sure.
Absolutely. I've been hearing a common theme the last couple months. Everyone's saying looking up. So it's not all doom and gloom out there, like some people say. So good to have a positive spin on it, right? And I'm curious what I know some of the tools you use, but what are your favorite tools, resources, portals, syndication software that you rely on to keep your business on track?
So I really like Sponsor Cloud, their investor portal. For our Imperial Terrace, we looked at a few different systems, and I think Sponsor Cloud came out in front because they were affordable, but they had a lot of applications and features that we appreciated. And yeah, it's very intuitive, and yeah, it's got some really great features that I really like. So it's been super helpful with our and raise, and just they do the K1s and everything. And they also have a kind of a CRM where you can put out newsletters and all of that communication. So I like that.
Hmm. Yeah, and I know you use Go High Level, of course,
Yes.
which we always recommend to people. But is there any other AI stuff or any other softwares or programs you use routinely that help you out?
The recent AI tools out there definitely are helpful. Again, I do agree. Using that to in some degree definitely will help you in the long run for sure.
Absolutely. And for those who aren't aware, Sponsor Cloud, they're relatively new, formerly Syndication Pro. I know a lot of people had gripes with Syndication Pro. Jacob and Sterling and Samantha are 100% aware, and they've completely rebranded the portal, the UI. For my money, it is both for you and your investors the best user-friendly experience out there. You can do pretty much anything that you can imagine on their software. I love it. We super recommend them. If anyone's looking to switch platforms, maybe they're fantastic. So always recommend Sponsor Cloud. And this is one of my favorite, questions I always ask. If you could go back and restart your real estate investing journey, and you can't buy Bitcoin stock, that's the only caveat here. What would you do differently?
So I would build and organize an investor database immediately, begin the discovery conversations and the public storytelling earlier. I think that in terms of whether it's raising capital or just in this multifamily space, it's good to get the word out, what you're doing, how you're doing it, how you're learning, investing in yourself. And if people are interested to learn more, maybe not now, maybe later down the road, they'll know who to reach out to get them dialed in and helping them to get their money working harder for them.
And speaking of having a system, how much did that accelerate both save you time and accelerate your investor growth just by having a system in place, just for organization?
Yeah, no, it's great to have a CRM just to be able to have all the contacts that you have and then be able to send out communication, reminders, things like that. That's a huge time saver for sure. and just being able to organize. I guess you can do tags and all. I still have to get better at using all the features, but it's definitely a good thing to have if you can. It's
Hey,
not
that's why you got
necessary.
Gerald.
It helps. Yes,
Yeah, that's why you
exactly.
got Gerald. Gerald to help you out with all of it. Gerald's our resident Go High Level superstar. For those who don't know, he can do anything front to back in that system. We'd love him. You've seen a lot of growth since me and you first talked a couple years ago. You've come a long way. I'm very happy to see the deals that you're in, the capital you're raising from. I think we started talking. I think we had our first call about 2 years ago, and in that short time, you've achieved quite a bit. Especially, I think, with the barrier of trying to do deals in California. I think that can't be overstated. Both the price tag is pretty high, and investors, even some of them who live in California, might want to invest elsewhere. So, getting deals done on the West Coast, I think, deserves a ton of praise because doing a deal in Florida, where I'm at, or in Texas, where Tim's at, those barriers just don't exist for the most part. So, I want to congratulate you on that. But what advice would you give to someone who aspires to have over 500 units, do over $50 million assets in AUM, but doubts their ability to get there? Because you've done that in a very short time. So what advice would you give someone like that?
Definitely find and form a team and be able to just be consistent, hold each other accountable, look at deals, and form those relationships with sponsors early as well. Keep them informed in all of the process because they need to have buy-in before you submit the LOI. And also
Mm-hmm.
with capital raising, begin with one investor, one trusted relationship, one well understood opportunity, and keep your promises and continue with communications. Letting them know all that you know helps bridge any gap, and become the person that and build that organization capable of responsibly stewarding the amount that they invest in you and your team. Continue to develop the investment knowledge and the systems and put that in place to help, yeah, your business succeed. And partner
Fantastic.
with those people whose strengths complement yours. And yeah, never let a fundraising target become more important than investor suitability or deal quality.
That's a really good one. Don't have tunnel vision, right? Is it good for your investors? It doesn't matter how much you like it. Do your investors like it? Is it good for their interests? Because Warren Buffett always says, rule number one, investors first. Rule number two, see to rule number one. I think the verbatim is don't lose investor money, right? But your investors come first. And rule number two is they still come first. So, especially right now, where there's a lot of bad deals out there, it's not like it was 10 years ago. Making sure that you take your investors' interest first and foremost before trying to pursue a deal just because you really like it, I think is super important. So, really well put, Lan. I love it. Anything else you would like to leave us with?
The Just, I guess, this whole multifamily business and capital raising, it's ultimately a business of trust. So keep learning, serve people before asking anything from them, choose your partners carefully, communicate honestly, and honor every commitment. The opportunities we enjoy tomorrow are often built by the relationships and habits we invest in today. And I wanted to give a quick shout out to all my San Diego Real Estate Impact group members for coming and supporting me. So thank you so much. And
Awesome. Very easy person to support. So I'm not surprised in the slightest. But you've been super generous sharing your knowledge with us today. How can the audience support, get back to you, connect with you? What's the best way for all of that?
the greatest way you can support me is through connection and collaboration. I'd love to introduce investors who are seeking thoughtfully evaluated passive real estate opportunities, and I'd love to connect with experienced operators, multifamily owners, strategic partners, and yeah, just invite collaboration through LinkedIn, Facebook, and just feel free to share honest feedback, introduce yourself, even if just want to get to know each other. That's all. And I
Awesome.
believe, yeah, the most valuable relationships begin with just a conversation and grows over time.
And what's the
And
best way to connect with you?
I'll put my info in Facebook, the usual modes. And I
Yeah,
just
put
wanted to take the
your
opportunity to say also that I'm just incredibly grateful for all the mentors who have poured into me throughout my journey so far and just encouraging me to step beyond my comfort zone, recognizing my potential and become more visible, even though being in the spotlight does not come naturally to me. So their continued guidance, encouragement, and unwavering support remind me that we grow further and accomplish more when others believe in us, walk beside us, and inspire us to rise into the person we are meant to become. Thank you.
Absolutely. Very well put. Fantastic. I really appreciate you coming on with us today.